Hey guys, Jess with Peekaboo Wreath. So today we are going to be making a burlap mesh wreath on an 18, an 18-inch frame. Normally we make it on a 14-inch frame. I had an Etsy order for one on an 18-inch frame, which produces a little bit of a wider wreath. So that's what we'll be making together today. I did just create this one, this version, which it'll look very similar to this, except it won't have as much covered in the middle. It'll be like wider and there'll be more of a space in the middle. This is one made on a 14-inch frame, and I just made this over on Facebook, on a Facebook Live actually. So if you want to see how that one's made, you can head over to peekaboo-wreaths.com or Facebook, Peekaboo Wreaths. All right, so we have this frame here. It's 18 inches. When you do buy these, I bought this one at the Dollar Tree, but you can buy them pretty much anywhere. It comes like this. It's a dark green, kind of like floral tape is, you know, that dark green color. Whenever I'm using the burlap mesh only without any ribbons, bows, or signs, I don't want this frame showing through the mesh at all. So I always spray paint it a brown color, whether it's beige or a light brown or something in those families. I always make it a brownish color so the customer cannot see that frame. It is a bad look. It is a look of, I mean, they know when they order from me and on Etsy, and the reason why they buy it on Etsy is because they want something that's handmade by a real person's hands. And they do that, but at the same time, even though you're providing somebody with something handmade, you don't want it to look like an amateur did it, right? So you want to provide the most professional looking wreath possible. So there is a video showing how to make this on a 14-inch frame. It is a cotton burlap mesh, and you can go check that out if you wanted to. It's the same process as that we see here on this 18-inch frame. What I'm doing is I am cutting the pipe cleaners in half, which you just saw. Since we are not adding any type of ribbon or sign or anything into the pipe cleaner, we don't need it to be full length. And instead of going back through cutting all of them and wasting all that pipe cleaner, I've learned that it's easier just for me to cut them off halfway through, or half length I should say, and do it that way. All right, so here we are. We're putting these just like we do on all of my other frames that are from Dollar Tree. We're taking a pipe cleaner, we're putting it at the weld at the bottom part, we're doing another one at the top, and then we're doing one halfway in between both. Okay, so on a 14-inch frame, it gives us 18 ties. On this 18-inch frame, it gives us 24. So instead of using a full roll of mesh, as I do on the 14-inch frame for this type of wreath, it takes a roll and a half of 10-inch mesh cut at 20 inches. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. 10-inch mesh cut at 20 inches. I'm not going to be cutting that on this video. I just did it on our Facebook Live when I was creating the 14-inch version because I like to try to think harder, not smarter. Well, both, I guess, but either way, I cut 4 rolls of mesh at once instead of 1 roll 4 times. All right, moving on. Okay, so as I said before, we are just attaching these pipe cleaners right now so that we can throw our mesh into it. All I do is I put it in between the two rings or rungs on the wreath frame. I give it one very hard twist, not hard enough to separate the rings, because I have learned the hard way that that is possible to do. If you tighten your pipe cleaner too tightly, it will separate the weld, and then you will have a broken frame, which is not good, and you can't use, and that's a bad time. Nobody likes a broken frame. So here we go. We're just going around. Again, there are 24 ties on this, which means you'll need 24 pieces of 10-inch mesh cut to 20 inches long to create a wreath like I am creating. I am using Burlap. It's called Polypro Mesh. I buy it at Hobby Lobby, but you can buy it anywhere that they sell mesh. There's nice websites that sell really quality mesh. There's one called Craft Outlet where I buy my supplies as well. They also sell them on Amazon, I'm sure too. All right, so we have all of our ties on here. I'm just sweeping a little bit to the side here, and then we're gonna start putting our mesh on. Each piece I'm separating because I did cut them in 4. I'm just folding the edge down a little bit. I keep my thumbs in one spot, and then I just gather up the middle. If you're gonna give this a technical term, it's called a cruffle. You curl a little bit and then you ruffle up the middle. I flip it over so the cut side is facing down in the wreath. It kind of looks like a butterfly or a bow tie. I try to keep it even on both sides. I do not open up that pipe cleaner. I just lay it down in there, twist it a couple times, and then open up the mesh like this. And then I set it aside so that I can do it again. So we'll have 24 more times, or actually technically 23 times if we're gonna get 24 pieces on there all together. So we're turning that down. Any type of mesh, whether it's burlap mesh or more of a plastic mesh, it will fray because it is a woven material. It is possible, not for this natural type, but for plastic mesh, you can use a wood burner and a glass mat underneath, which some people do. I do not do that because I don't feel like it's necessary. Burlap in itself is more of a natural material, and a lot of people expect that. They know what they're ordering. They like the look of that. So if there's a little bit of fraying in the back of the wreath when the customer turns it over, it's totally okay. And there's really not a way to prevent that. As long as you use a sharp rotary cutter when you are cutting your mesh, that helps to cut down on frays. And then just, you know, if there's any that are a little bit wild when your wreath is finished, you know, just use some scissors to trim up those edges a little bit. There you go. And we're trying to keep it even on both sides. Some people use a clothespin to help, like they'll create all their mesh bundles at once and then just put them all in. I prefer to do them one at a time, but you find out what works best for you. Again, we're just folding it up, folding it down, folding this edge one time, and then just flipping it like that. When I do use longer mesh to create some of my other wreath bases, normally I use 10-inch mesh cut to 30-inch lengths. That way I can roll each edge a little bit more, and it also provides a little bit more volume on the wreath. A little bit of a more, I don't know, like a wider sort of, it sticks up, I don't know. It just has more of a presence that I like. I like the look of that. But this is definitely, I fully appreciate the beauty in natural materials like this burlap as well. Burlap mesh, I should say. This is not plain burlap. That is a different material altogether. So we're just putting on our I was gonna say curls, but that's not what we're doing here. The cruffles. Fold it once, gather it up, try to get it as even as possible on both sides. And then bring our frame back over, put it down in that tie. Give it a couple twists. I do like to use, on these wreaths, pipe cleaners that match the mesh. So as good as possible so that you can't see that pipe cleaner when it's hanging on the door. If you did use like a red, like any other color, you would be able to see that pipe cleaner and it wouldn't give you like the seamless, cohesive look that this does. So we're just bringing it back over, putting it down in that pipe cleaner. I can start to feel that this this wreath is on that wider frame, like I said. Instead of a 14-inch that I normally use, it's on an 18-inch frame. Because I can tell, because my table that I'm working on is up against a wall, and I can tell that every time I'm moving the wreath base to and fro, it's starting to get nice and wide and touching that wall. It's the little things. When you've made over 500 wreaths, every little difference, you can notice it. But I love it. I love creating for other people. I love being able to add beauty to their space. I didn't mean to rhyme, but maybe bring a smile to their face. Every wreath that I send out, I include a handwritten thank you card and a coupon for the customer's next purchase, and inviting them to leave a review and let me know what they think about it and how I can help them again in the future. And lately on these summer ones, I've been writing that, you know, I hope that this wreath helps welcome in sunshine and smiles. We all want more of that, don't we? Unless it's really, really hot where you live, then you might just want the smiles. Leave the sunshine. Come in the air conditioning, right? I guess it's still sunny inside. It's just not as hot if you have air conditioning. Anyways, got a little off on a tangent. Okay, so I'm making sure that that's even on both sides. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if you do put it in there and it is not mostly even, you will notice when you hang it up, it will not be as round as you might like it to be. And that's not, when we're making a round wreath, we want it to be round, right? So try to make them as even as possible. There we go. Flip it over. Put it down in the next tie. So I wanted to ask you guys, you can leave it in the comments. Are you a wreath maker? How did you find me? Did you find me on Facebook? I was very excited the other day. I received a comment from somebody that told me that they found me in suggested reels or suggested videos on the side when they were watching a video, which was exciting because I feel like YouTube is starting to recognize my videos, I guess. And it says in there, like when you look at analytics, it says that it's trying to identify your audience, like finding out people that like to watch maybe crafting videos, maybe wreath making videos, something like that. So that's kind of a big deal to me that YouTube was starting to show my things to people that weren't subscribed and didn't necessarily find me from my Facebook page or my Instagram page. So that was exciting. I liked it. So who would have thought? I'm excited because you know what they say, you know, you can't do the same thing and expect different results. Is that, I don't know how that saying is much more smooth than I'm delivering it. But what I'm getting at is that I've been doing this for about 7 years, and I love it, but the summer tends to be slower with sales because, you know, people tend to like Christmas wreaths, they love fall wreaths, you know, all the cozy feels that that type of decoration gives, but not everyone decorates for summer. Like they don't put patriotic up, they might not, you know, put up a strawberry wreath, you know, they might not like lemon decor, they might just leave, you know, their door plain during the summer months. And so what that kind of leads to is less sales. And I've heard before they say to take that time and, you know, learn something new, you know, try something new. So that's what I've been doing. You know, I've been trying new things and seeing what works. Some of it works, I'm sure, some of it won't work. So some of it I'll keep doing, some of it I'll, you know, leave to the side. But one of those things was making a YouTube channel and helping other people learn how to do this, and maybe just give them a behind the scenes glimpse of how much time goes into making a wreath. Maybe they'll, you know, learn that, because it's kind of like anything, you don't realize what goes into it until you try sometimes, or take the time to learn the process. Okay, so I'm doing the inside just like I did on the outside. I had pushed those pipe cleaners, you know, up a little bit so it looked like a V, and I'm just gathering these up, same as before, pulling my wreath base over, finding that next pipe cleaner. I don't know if you guys can see, it's right here. I'm not like undoing it at all. I'm literally putting that middle part of that little butterfly down into that pipe cleaner and twisting it a couple times nice and tight down to the wreath frame, and then I am folding it up so that it's not poking out. You don't want your customer to take your wreath out of your box and get poked by one of the pipe cleaners, because there is metal in there and that would be ouchy. So there we go. I'm pulling it back over towards us. You can pretty easily see, even though it's starting to get fuller, you know, where the next pipe cleaner is. Putting it down in there. Because I did cut those pipe cleaners in half, there's not as much room to twist it, but enough to securely attach that mesh. And then I'm just pulling that new bundle up and against the other mesh that I have in there so that it's nice and fluffy. We don't want any of the mesh to be like laying on top of each other, because then we won't be seeing each and every piece that we are putting in there and intending to make it look nice and full. Okay, so our next one is right here. Just identifying where that is, putting that bundle down in there, and then twisting it together. So what kind of decor do you like? Do you hang a wreath in your house during the summertime? Do you just like, do you put green, like a greenery wreath up, and that way you don't have to think about changing it? Or do you hang maybe 4th of July? That's what I do. I put up 4th of July. As soon as summertime hits, I take down my Easter stuff, my tulip wreath that my sister made me, and I put up patriotic, because we have Memorial Day, and then before we know it, it's the 4th of July, and we celebrate that. And in our house, it's a good thing to celebrate America all the time, and it's just a good way to show our support of those that give everything for us, and kind of just remind our boys that we are proud to live in America. And that's that. So here we go, putting it down the next one. And then what I do is I add, when I'm all done adding my mesh, I flip it over, I hang it up on the wall or the fence outside to just double check that everything is looking good, everything's looking round. If we do have an edge that has some frays, I can trim it up, or sometimes I'll just roll it like this, and it'll catch on itself and it'll look a little bit better. Okay, just turning it, adding our next piece. Again, this is an 18-inch frame. We have 24 pieces of 10-inch mesh cut to 20-inch lengths. So here we go. We're just putting it down in there and twisting it a few times. Another thing to keep in mind is that all of my videos I also release as shorts, so that if you don't want to sit here and watch the entire wreath being made, you can just kind of watch me give a little bit of instruction in the beginning and then fast forward it, so that you don't have to sit here and watch me make the whole thing, or even each step. So that's good to do if you're not necessarily looking for making it, but you still want to be entertained by the process. You can do that too. You do miss out on my amazing storytelling, my one-sided conversation. I'm just joking, but you do miss out on it. That's serious, but I'm joking that it's amazing. All right, so there we go. That is the last one. I just go through, take our mesh pieces, kind of butt them up against each other so that's nice and full, and that's what we got. Our nice full mesh wreath. As I said before, the inside is bigger because it is a wider wreath. Perfect. All right, if you want to get one for your door and you don't want to make one, you can find me and this wreath over on Etsy. at etsy.com/shop/peekaboo wreaths.com. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.